You know, our tradition says we need to put this Chanukah in the window.
Yeah,
we need for people to see it. We need to, the Aramaic is, as you know, Pirsumei Nisa, to publicize the miracle. Why? Because it wasn't only for us. Yes, it was about our religious freedom. It was about the salvation of the Jewish faith. That was very important. That was key. But you know what? It's a miracle that people who are not even of our faith can appreciate. They can appreciate the idea of a people fighting for religious freedom, of a people believing, because this menorah symbolizes hope and faith, that in every generation all people should have the opportunity, the ability to find something to pin faith and hope upon as they face life, as they face the travails of life.
Yeah, that's great. It's a true symbol of hope, yes.
So now, you know, this year especially, not because of what we're going to do here December 18th, but you know, we're certainly both very concerned about the eruption of anti-Semitism throughout the world, right? There are places in this world, too many to be listed, where it is no longer safe for a Jew to walk out with any visible signs of Jewish identity. There are places in this world where today the rabbis will tell their congregants, don't put that in the window, okay? So I think here where we are, in this incredible country of ours, in this United States of America, which has been so good to our people, better than any land in the history of our experience, that we have to celebrate what other Jews really, at this point, incomprehensibly, it's incomprehensible that here we are in 2014 and Jews in other parts of the world can't put a menorah in their window for fear of being attacked, of being vandalized. So there is something about Pirsumei Nisa, about publicizing the miracle and saying that we stand united as a people, and we're doing this not just for ourselves, but for the others who can't light it in their own home, whether it be in France or in Belgium or who knows where. There are dozens of other countries, Argentina.
Right. You know, when I think about the Chanukah and the symbols of Hanukkah, what's the miracle of Hanukkah when we think about the miracle of Hanukkah?
Many of them.
Right.
Many of them.
So what are you thinking?
You know, look, I think that there's the miracle of the oil.
The oil,
but you know, to me, the biggest miracle of the oil is that there was some Kohen who believed that in the worst of times, if he hid this bottle of oil, this cruse of oil, there would come a time when the Jewish people would return to the temple and they would find that cruse of oil and they would light the menorah again. That to me was a miracle, that this fellow, whose name we don't know, in the worst of times, when the Greeks were taking over Jerusalem, said, I'm going to hide this away because, as King Solomon said, you know, this too shall pass.
Right.
You know, the worst will pass and we'll have this again. That to me is a miracle. You know, there's the military miracle.
Right. And you know, that one was the one I was thinking of, although I love the idea of the foresight being the miracle. But I'm also thinking that in terms of the military victory, when we look at this Chanukah, it reminds us of the miracle of the resiliency of the Jewish people.
Mm-hmm. Definitely
you
so.
know, not just the resiliency of oil you thought that it was only going to last one day, but it lasted 8 days. Mm-hmm. Think of all of our enemies who thought that the Jewish people were going to be a blip on the radar screen of history. You know, Antiochus, Haman, Pharaoh, all of them. You know, they think to themselves, Jewish people are going to last one day, right? And what do? We last 8 days. We last an infinite. And 8, by the way, is a symbol for infinity. We last an infinite number of days, right? And so, so when we think about the Chanukah as a symbol for the miracle of Hanukkah, it's not just a symbol of oil; it's a symbol of the resiliency of the Jewish people.
And you know, I'll tell you, you may have heard me speak about it. One of the most moving experiences of my life, of my entire life, was about 3 years ago when I went with a group of rabbis to the former Soviet Union. And we were walking around one night in Moscow in what was Red Square. Now, and there in Red Square are buried Stalin and Lenin. And Dafka, specifically at that point, at that place, we said, here we're going to daven Maariv. Right in front of where Stalin is buried, right in front of where Lenin is buried. And because I was mourning the death of my mother that year, I led the minyan. And when I completed the minyan, you complete the Maariv with saying Kaddish. So I turned to my right, I remember this very, very vividly, and there was the grave of Lenin and particularly Stalin, and I said, you're dead. You're dead. You tried to kill off our faith in this land, but you were defeated. You couldn't get your dream fulfilled. We're here, Am Yisrael Echad. Yeah. And that's part of it. That a people like the Jewish people are able to survive the powerhouse that was Soviet communism and see its downfall. There's a lot in that. Yeah. There's a lot in that menorah that has fueled our people over the centuries. It's enormous.
So that's a great story. I don't mean to one-up you on it. Yeah. Okay. But a few years ago, over Chanukah break, when Yaf and I were studying in Israel, Yaf and I decided to travel to Greece. Okay, we stayed in a hotel in Athens that was overlooking the Temple of Zeus. Okay, the ruins of the Temple of Zeus. Right. Who built the Temple of Zeus? King Antiochus. Okay, King Antiochus built the Temple of Zeus. Yeah. And there it is, laying in ruins. And it was Hanukkah time. We lit a menorah on the balcony, overlooking a ruined Temple of Zeus. And it's very much the same thing. And here's a person who literally tried to destroy us. Right. And we, like the Chanukah, say, we're still alive, and your ancient culture is lying in ruins. Right.
And fortunately, we're here to talk about it all these years later.
So obviously, there's a lot to talk about with the Chanukah. It has extended over from last week and this week, and we just have so much there that we needed to say. And we appreciate everybody watching. You know, Hanukkah is a long holiday, a lot to talk about with the significance of just this one menorah. So we want to say thank you so much for watching both parts of part 1 and part 2 of our lessons about the Chanukah. And we wish everybody a Chag Urim Sameach, a happy Hanukkah.
Chag Urim Sameach, a joyous Hanukkah. Come celebrate with us in Shul this great holiday.
Yes, please do. And we want to wish everybody, of course, as always, a Shabbat Shalom and a Lahitro.
Shabbat Shalom.